ettikten sonra moderatörümüz Aypa Londra temsilcisi, kıdemli büyük veri ve yapay zeka lideri Sayın Ulaş Mallı Beyefendi'yi alkışlarınıza davet ediyorum. Hoş geldiniz. Buyurunuz efendim. Biraz boş da olsa salonumuz, binlerce kişi bizi online platformdan takip ediyor. Birazdan da dönecek kıymetli misafirlerimiz. Evet, ilk konuşmacımız Partner ve Yönetim Kurulu Danışmanı Sayın Fabio Ardossi. Alkışlarınızla Mr. Ardossi. Welcome. Devam ediyorum. Girişimci Seri Yatırımcı Varlık Yönetimi Direktörü Sayın Amit Sik bizlerle birlikte. Buyurunuz efendim. Sayın Amit Singh Beyefendi, hoş geldiniz. Hoxton Ventures yönetici ortağı Sayın Peyton Dobbs bizlerle birlikte. Buyurunuz efendim, hoş geldiniz. Ve hiç vakit kaybetmeden söz moderatörümüz Sayın Ulaş Mallı'da. Buyurun. Mikrofonumuz açık mı? Sesimiz geliyor mu?
Şu an sesim
Harika.
geliyor herhalde. Öncelikle değerli yönetim kurulu ve AYPA üyelerimiz ve online dinleyicilerimiz, şu anda binlerce kişi bizi dinliyor. Bugün yapacağımız konuşmada, online'da ve fiziksel konuşmada İngilizceye geçmeden önce teşekkür ediyoruz. Şu an az bir grubuz ama iyi geçeceğine inanıyorum ve izninizle İngilizce başlatıyorum. Dear speakers and dear lovely guests, today you are with us. So thank you very much for joining us. So we are a small community in the physical area, but we believe that the online joiners are super keen to listen us. So thank you very much. Today we are going to discuss about the digital economies. Of course, we discuss lots of things about space, growth, economy, AI, change. So I think it is right now time to somehow deep dive. And I just want to introduce you and who you are, and of course introduce myself as a part of the AI organization. So my name is Ulaş. I'm from London, a centric organization. I'm leading Big Data and AI department there. And also I'm the board member at AYPA to lead the London office there. So today we have a lovely speakers. Fabio, you are leading the Data and AI consultancy department. So the company, you are giving lots of consultancies to governments and other parties. And Amit, thank you very much for your journey. You are working in UBS Bank, so you are a serial investor, and also you are doing lots of investment to companies from a bank point of view, so thank you very much for joining. And Python, you are also special for us, because I'm sure that there are lots of startups today listening to you, and you are super successful in the last 2 years in Europe to invest in startups, so thank you very much for joining us. Of course, we have a limited time today. You have a flight, but I just want to start with some couple of questions specifically to you. So, Fabio, you are working in the Europe environment like UK, Italy, and other European countries. From a technology and also growth point of view, how do you think AI will impact economies in the in the following months or years, as most of the speakers told today?
Try. Okay, should be better. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for asking us to join today. As you said, my background is technology and innovation. Worked especially in consulting big corporations through the digital transformation. Most of the market is European market, and I think until now, we are seeing few elements of the transformation that in our panel is mostly digital, and at least from my point of view, through the lens of, let's say, artificial intelligence as a peak of the iceberg, but it's all around data, it's all around infrastructure, clouds that we mentioned already. Why it's important, why digital transformation now is moving on fast. We will, of course, have other view on startups, but let me also give a little bit of combination of how corporation and startups are working together in the digital era. So what's happening right now is through what I'm seeing, which is actually using tools and technologies. So we are on the edge between what is already done and explored, so functional to usually business demands, and can be move on the, let's say, the next, let me use implementation of technologies. So now we talk about, to give you an example, so if you're talking about quantum computing, for me, quantum computing, even if it's an existing technology, is not the one that you can actually bring out of the R&D at the moment, even if it's all around, but it's not ready to move in. While artificial intelligence, or now everyone is talking about generative AI, is the kind of technology that you can bring out of R&D and use in production. There is two views on the digital transformation. One is this, and this is my daily job, if you wish. Corporations are trying to improve processes and trying to improve the way they are doing their business with the digital transformation. The other one is actually how the whole economy around the countries, the ecosystem, is using the technology and is helping the corporations or startups to build it. Generative AI, in my opinion, is, I'm using this as an example, is bringing this view of how much basically two things are impacting the ecosystem and corporations. Infrastructure. So now, if you see who are the players for generative AI, are mostly, not only, but mostly outside Europe. But it's a foundational layer for most of the AI transformation in companies, which means that basically European ecosystem and landscape is quite in late. And we know, I mean, it's on the news. It's not new, something that I'm telling for the first time. So one thing is for sure the infrastructure. One other thing is the how you can use the technology, which means, for example, yourself. You are through regulations and how we can improve, not just limiting, but basically boosting the technology into an ecosystem which is played by a lot of parties, and it's important. So at the moment, the landscape is, especially for digital AI transformation, is fragmented and, in my opinion, stretched. Because if you look, digital is difficult to map in an economy because it's digital, it's not tangible. I mean, if you are bracing for the space, it's easy. You have the whatever machines to go to space or no. For the digital, what do you need to have? So ChatGPT, for example, is just one application of the generative AI space, but it brings one important thing, in my opinion, that it should be looked into, and then I stop because I leave them, and it's a point for me to think about as a starting point. Generative AI is on the top, but behind generative AI, you have first layer under it is the data, which is an asset, or could be an asset. And here you start to see something more tangible in terms of, okay, so what are the information or the data that my country, my economy, corporations, and the whole ecosystem we have to boost what we are doing? Because generative AI is using the data. And then the other one is where I'm keeping the data. So what are, in the simplest way, the data centers to keep the data? And could be the data centers the next kind of physical and digital asset that a country has to, for example, again, boost areas of the economy. And underlying it, which is, for example, coming from Italy originally, and sometimes it's extremely difficult, all the infrastructure to connect the old systems, because yes, digital is digital, but still is on top of physical infrastructure. So there are these, in my view, 4 layers that is let's say, countries and states and corporations, because then, of course, again, it's kind of, you have to integrate together. It's not just one entity. So the physical infrastructure is there. We are not 100% digital yet. Maybe we'll be in 20 years, 100 years. Then you have more into the data and the AI. You have the data centers, which is an extremely important collecting point, especially when we are talking about big data. Then you have all the data, and so how you are collecting, who is collecting the data, how you are governing, and who is controlling in some way the data. And then you have the layer on top, which is, okay, now I can improve my economy. This is my view on this kind of digital AI economy.
So thank you very much. Like, again, just to summarize, as you are saying, like, we should focus on the infrastructure, then to data or data center, then we should focus on the implementations, and then that drive the growth economy for everybody. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. So, Amit, again, thank you very much. And you know, we are an emerging market that we are trying to grow every day, and you are working in the banking industry, especially in the finance sector in the UK, which is quite exciting for us. Like, could you please tell us about, from a growth point of view, from a banking point of view? I'm pretty sure your industry also in a change with the AI. But what do you suggest? Also, you are a serial investor, right? How do you think that AI will impact economies like emerging market like Turkey?
First of all, thank you for having me here. I hope you can hear me.
Just, if you can be a bit close, then it will be okay, I believe.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me here. From economic perspective, if you look at the impact is already becoming visible. And one example I will give you from my own organization. In banking industry, the one thing that you care about is the bottom line and your cost to profit ratio, right? And as an organization, in the banking industry, we always talk about how we can reduce our cost. And that's where the AI comes into the picture. So we're already seeing AI being adopted. For example, in a legal department where legal contracts are being generated by software. Before, you had a legal team which will take around 2 weeks to draft a contract. Then another second team will review it, finalize it, 1 month. Now the drafting is happening within 30 minutes. So only the second part is just the review part. So it's just the very sophisticated industry where we are seeing the impact. And when you look at the traditional industry, especially in the emerging economies where you have manufacturing, service sector is still a little lower than the manufacturing, you will see the impact going to be tremendous. From the two point of view, not all negative, from the positive point of view, the productivity can enhance further by bringing automations because AI can help reducing your operational expenses and operational processes, right? So that means you can produce more at the lower cost. The second part is predictive maintenance. If you're having a manufacturing base, chances are your machines require time to time maintenance. Before AI or advanced AI, it was difficult to predict when the machine may go down. But using AI now, companies like Siemens are already doing it when they can predict when my machine can go down and accordingly planning around it. So effectively, your lean time or downtime is very minimal. And the third thing is more opportunities, because if within an organization you can free up your capacity from maintenance and operations, you can more focus on growing the organizations and perhaps bring new products and opportunities. So that's from a traditional economy where you have more opportunities. From the negative side of it, because in emerging economy, again giving the example, coming from India, I'm originally from India, there was a recent article that by end of next year, 500,000 jobs will disappear from call center, just from India, and then you have a similar situation like Philippines. Because reason is right now you have a customer care executive sitting in a call center waiting for the call to come and then answer to the customer, right? Using AI, the call center can predict what is the pattern of when the calls come and what kind of questions customer usually ask. So having that kind of intelligence and applying it, you can have better chatbot kind of capabilities where you don't need a physical person to sit all day. They may be only required when there's a very complex query. So that is kind of job losses you will see on certain area. Having said that, like we lived through a time when internet came, and there was a huge fear that jobs will go, computer can do everything. It didn't happen, it opened up a lot of opportunities. Same thing, it happened when the robots came, that robots will replace humans and we don't need humans anymore, right? But at the same time, robots are doing a lot of things that perhaps we thought lower value end or high value or up the value chain, but we are still here. That means it's opening more opportunities. I think it applies to the current environment. It doesn't matter whether you're traditional industry or very sophisticated industry. You will have to move with the time. You have to adopt the new technology and find how you can leverage for your benefit and free up capacity that you can utilize to grow the business further.
Oh, super. Thank you very much. Like, really, when I talk with any financial people, like, they always talk about productivity and labor market. Like, just try to balance the supply and demand, right? So this is a good conversation, but I have a list of questions about AGI that I'm going to ask after the Python's discussion. So it will be great to hear your feedbacks. So Python, again, thank you very much for being with us. Like Hoxton Ventures, you are a super partner with Turkey. We always see that you are interested in this country and try to invest in startups. So thank you very much again for that ambition. From your point of view, when I look at, again, I'm not a financial professional, but when I look at from an investment point of view, I see that some startups are struggling, while others who are focusing on AI, they are getting some money from, especially from Asia or America side. Of course, I know that you have a vision to make Europe like a Silicon Valley. So I know that vision as well. So how do you see the economy? How do you see that AI will impact the investment side of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, I want to just start by thanking IFA for hosting this event, for facilitating it. I've never shared the stage with a vice president and an astronaut before, so this is a real honor to be here. And to answer your question, hey, we look at, like any change, you can look at it as a risk or an opportunity, right? And it is our job to look at the opportunity. Our job as venture capitalists to see that opportunity. And we view AI or generative AI as kind of this next computing paradigm, right? This next phase of computing. So if you look at kind of what was Web 1.0 and some of the winners that came out of that, like Google and Amazon. Second phase around maybe mobile and mobile web. You obviously saw Meta, Facebook at the time, introducing social, but then companies like Uber were built off the back of that infrastructure. Cloud has been pervasive, and we use the analog of cloud very often with LLMs and Gen AI. And if you view that as the underlying infrastructure, just like the cloud, then you have to look at the application layer of what can be built on top of it that can create real value. And I think like Ahmet said, yes, there's absolutely productivity gains to be had here. Specifically, I know he referenced customer service, customer support. That is one of the use cases that is most pervasive right now, and Klarna actually released a press release citing that they're now handling 2/3 of their customer support requests purely from generative AI. I ran our global sales operations at Nest, and we calculated the cost to serve. We prided ourselves on customer support, and we quoted or estimated about each customer support inquiry was about $40 per engagement. We eventually brought that down to 20, but in a generative AI world, probably doesn't take a banker to figure out how little that can cost. Those are huge savings. Now it's upon, I think, governments and businesses to redeploy those savings in the right way. And that is what we are looking to see, okay, who are the companies that are going to provide that value, be that next, if it is Google, Amazon, Facebook, Uber, UiPath, right? There's a lot of technical talent, a lot of ambition here in Europe, and that's what we're trying to find who those winners are, not just from a country or region, but on a global scale. And we think that there is a lot of opportunity here in Turkey, here across the continent, and if anything, better.
We need to hear you better.
And I can speak loudly. Also. I am American. It comes naturally for me. And if anything, this is something that, yeah, hey, we're trying to identify those winners, and then we want to see them expand and build globally. And I guess just to boil this down and summarize, my point being, you don't have to have built the infrastructure like Amazon or Google or others building cloud, but you can benefit building off of the application layer on top of it and extract huge value like an Uber or Spotify are great examples.
Super. Like one topic may be good to mention again, Python. Like when I talk with people, always people, it might be automatically to reply like how we can decrease the cost by using the AI, of course, Gen AI, right? Amit also mentioned that the documentation, you mentioned that how to down to maybe cost to serve item. So yes, this is the opportunity, but of course, as a young generation or the countries, we need to focus on more growth opportunities, additional revenues, and how we can increase our GDP per capita by just using this kind of tools. So it might be an interesting area to talk. But we have a limited time. I just want to go to my second question. Of course, today the world is changing, and we spoke about the space, economy, lots of things. And we are hearing that GPT 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, now 4.0, and others are coming. Only the barrier is maybe energy sector. So the world doesn't produce enough energy to implement AI fully, doesn't show the full potential. But what if we have enough energy with nuclear centrals or different renewable energy assets, then we can deploy to maybe GPT-9 in 2 years. But of course, last week we saw that lots of things happening like, do you watch the horror film? The agent is talking with agent to have a relationship autonomously. So this is an interesting discussion, and right now we see that AI can do this. Of course, this means that the AGI, artificial general intelligence, is coming, which might be a threat or opportunity again. What do you think about the AGI, each of you? What if we have enough energy? How the sector will be changed, or how the economies will be impacted by AGI? We can start with Fabio, if you want.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let's assume that we can use the whole energy we have. From a technical point of view, I believe that we can achieve, and we will achieve, what is called AGI. Now, from my point of view, very personal, based on my experience, people I'm talking with, so when and what exactly AGI will be, I'm not sure. I'm not able to define, because, of course, if I tell you that there will be a super artificial intelligence, which is exactly what we are using other words instead of the AGI, we say something on top of us doing everything, or something that can help us in doing everything, or something that will replace us, or something that will, I mean, it's difficult to say what will be exactly, in a very, again, going back in a very physical way. But that's true that the technology right now is not mature enough, even if we had enough energy to bring all the data together, and we are not mature enough as an ecosystem again, because what we didn't talk about, which is extremely important in the full ecosystem, and probably because I'm coming from Europe, I'm usually start with regulation in mind, and then all the others. So if AGI will be, again, let's see one angle, will be something that will help us to respond to all the questions, or will help us to make everything autonomous. It has to come to information. And now we are way far to have proper information stored in a proper way, managed in a proper way, which means that the so-called hallucinations are coming from the technical part of generative AI, but it comes also the information that the current algorithms can access. So this is a limitation at the moment. So if AGI will be kind of, I don't know, naive guru that you will ask a question and you will have an answer that you will use or not, well, why not? You have all the energy, you put all the data, you have no idea if the answer is correct or not. So I think that first of all, that is the direction, yes. And then another side is very fictional. I'm a fan of the movie Matrix. I'm not sure if you know the movie Matrix. Have a look, it's interesting. So if AGI will be kind of Matrix, then I will be okay, personally, because that is something that I'm fascinated from. Otherwise, I think we need to start to understand what we want to achieve, at least, with AGI, and then move in that direction. Because if we turn on all the energy and then we say, okay, now we have the AGI, it's like, okay, so what exactly? And then, of course, we will have other opinions, for sure.
Just before jumping to it may be good to remind what is AGI, right? We are right now discussing, but of course, most of us maybe know it, but AGI means like artificial general intelligence. We are discussing maybe human will be less smarter than machine. And of course, this might be like, as you said, Matrix. By the way, all Turkish people watch, it's like education, Matrix film, so most of us know it very well. So, do we think that the Matrix will be available in the coming years? From an academic point of view, yes. You might think that it might not be, but if the energy resources are enough, well, why shouldn't it be, right? It is a thing. But of course, when I just jump to Amit's side, Amit, it is very crucial why I asked this question. When we look at the stock market, right, the stock market always high somehow, or when we look at, I don't know, maybe FTC, 1,000 or S&P 500, why these guys are earning money? Because of the less information in the market, right? There is no transparency about the market. Because of that reason, I see like AGI or AI will be transformative in terms of financial industry too. What if your analysts reach the data in 2 seconds? Then how you will increase or decrease the share prices in the economy?
I think if you will have AGI in financial services, especially in the stock markets, investor won't be very happy because the speculation will be taken out and everything will be data-driven. Currently, that's not the case. Currently, it's very much a speculation which drive the share price, right? And hence, you can see even we were talking about the recession, high inflation, but stock markets everywhere are just peaking, right? So I think from the financial services perspective, we are already using some of the generative AI. So far, it has been towards operational elements so far, but now look at algorithmic trading. What it is very much artificial intelligence, right? You look at the right opportunity, the trade gets booked automatically, and it settles. There's no human intervention at all, right? But the downside, perhaps, that we are not able to crack yet. For example, if Peyton invests in a IT venture in Istanbul, he may value that worth 1 million. But same time, if another investor's making books or printing books approaches him saying, I can generate this much, can you give me investment? He may value just $10,000 US. The valuations and all those things. So there's a lot of subjectivity around these things that drive the financial product value at the end. And I think from the AI perspective, if everything becomes equal or fair, that will be interesting, but I don't think we are there yet. Having said that, on your earlier point when you were asking about the data, energy, so that's another, I think, observation in the last 2 years. The energy demand has grown up significantly, not because people are consuming more, because data centers are consuming more. Every country wants data center, and these data centers consume a lot of energies. So you need a lot of investments, but in return, you don't get as many jobs. So like I will give you example of Ireland. Ireland got, they need I think 8 or 9 data centers in the next 3 years, and they need investment of $100 billion. And the number of total jobs that will come from those data centers are around in few lower thousands. So that's kind of, you're seeing that energy challenge. Even if country just invest in energy, which is again take longer time to deliver, then you're not getting the return on the investment effectively. It's the big company which will reap the benefit of those data centers.
Thank you very much. You, Python, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is obviously very topical for us. And on the point of AGI, I do think it's an inevitability. I think it's when, not if. I also think AGI is not going to walk in the room and tell us it has arrived. I actually think we may even be closer than we think. Interesting anecdote, an aside. I was on a panel yesterday morning in London. There was a technologist I was talking beforehand with, and he said he had trained a model to help pick stock advice, right? Selection, just what Amit was referencing. And interestingly, the model had given him stock picks, but then also, as he prompted it, it came up with selections that were influenced by insider trading. But then it knew that insider trading was illegal, and then it surfaced. It hid the illegal activity from him as a user, right? So I share that anecdote only because it's our responsibility to manage the AGI or AI, and I do think that if we are responsible and put the right policies in place, the right governance, et cetera, that yes, this can be a very effective and very positive change for many, for all of us. I would say just on the point of energy consumption and support and resources, I think you have a few things in play there, and I think the assumption, the claim today that yes, there's not enough energy in the world to support where we're going, I think is predicated on assumptions today, and that's assuming that the cost to serve remains the same and that energy efficiency remains the same. And I think those two things are not stagnant, right? If you look at just the cost to serve from a query from GPT-3 to 4, from Bard to Gemini, all of these models are reducing drastically the energy consumption drain. Now, no doubt there will be more queries, there will be more engagement, but and recently it was published, the cost to serve is reduced already almost 80–90% across most of these models. I think that will continue, and then again, the shift to renewables will continue, and then the shift, and then the efficiency of those renewables will improve over time as well. It is absolutely a very real issue and one we need to take seriously, but I think it is something that with technology and it is within our grasp to manage in the right, responsible way.
Thank you very much, Python. I think we have a less time because of the busy schedule, but I really want to thank you from my heart because you spent 7 hours to come to Turkey, to Ankara. It is so special for us. And this is not only for this event, for past events, you also join as a speaker to our events and you are supporters. I really want to thank you from my heart and thank you very much for being with us today. So, dear listeners, thank you very much for being with us and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Çok teşekkür ediyoruz efendim. Hemen plaketleri için bize yardımcı olur musunuz? Plaketler için yardımcı olur musunuz? Epey erken bitirdik beklediğimizden. Sayın Zafer Küçükşabanoğlu bizimle. Plaketleri ben takdim edeyim. Bizim kızlardan da güzel. Başka var mı? Tamam. Çok teşekkür ediyoruz efendim. Sağ olunuz, var olunuz.